Hi, welcome back everybody. Sorry there wasn't a video last week. I've been very busy over the last couple of weeks and I just didn't have any time to record, let alone edit. So sorry about that, but we're well back this week with a brand new video. I hope you enjoy. Here we go. The vast majority of us have been in a situation where we've asked somebody out on a date or declared our undying love and that has not been reciprocated. And that's absolutely fine because nobody is making anybody go out on a date or reciprocate love or do anything really. But you know, it can be a bit of a bummer, especially if you have it often. I've had my fair share, I think it's fair to say, but you know what, I don't really worry about it. I would absolutely rather have somebody who was into it rather than somebody who I had to persuade to go out with me. Well, I say that now. You see, that wasn't quite the case when I was 15 or 16. I, for some reason, thought you had to trick a girl into going out with you. I would concoct some schemes in my head. Never usually carry them out. But concoct ways of surprising them or perhaps being very overly romantic or something like that. And they were surefire ways when I was 16 to make sure a girl liked me. Did they work? Did they help? Now, although my schemes, as it were, had stopped when I was 16 or 17 years old, that doesn't mean that I was very good at asking girls out. I certainly was not. Even now, I'm pretty average. One of the more laughable ways I thought of getting girls to go out with me is by writing them a big, long poem or a letter which declared my undying love. Now, number one, I clearly didn't love them because I got over it pretty easily in the vast majority of cases. But number two, these things were so sickly and so like way over the top. I would not be surprised if a girl was interested to be like, oh no, not anymore. They're not here. This is just a prop for propping terms. But I'd write it nicely and everything in my best handwriting, and I'd pop it in a letter and I put SWALK on the back or something like that. You get the point. And as hilarious as that sounds now, back then I thought I was destined to get the girl. Now, this isn't a tips video, but perhaps that's a tip. Don't go way over the top. It's not going to help your cause. Unlike you'll find in movies and in romance novels and all the rest of it. Apparently these massive romantic gestures win over the girls every single time. In the real world, they absolutely do not. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's what it was. I was watching movies such as Love Actually, and I thought that they told the truth. Why wouldn't I? I didn't know any better. But, it's not just the initial contact, the initial kind of will you go out with me kind of thing. Even when I did get a date, because potentially I wasn't quite so sickly in my first approach, even when I did get a date, it didn't really end well because I didn't listen to what she wanted. I remember clearly taking one girl to the movies and we went to see Charlie's Angels. That was a really bad idea. I was the one that chose the movie. I think she wanted to go and watch something else. I can't quite remember what it is now, but she wanted to go watch something else, and I insisted in going to see Charlie's Angels. Probably one of the worst films to take somebody on a first date, don't you think? Where there's lots of beautiful women on the screen which you may be slightly distracted by, even if you're not. So that clearly put her off. So, not reciprocated that love. Clearly love, as it were. But I've had it the other way around as well. Now here's the thing, if it's too subtle I don't usually notice, and if it's way over the top it usually puts me off. I'm sure this is the same for women as well. So yeah, sometimes it's been way over the top, or sometimes they're drunk, and obviously drunk, and it's not very attractive at all. And I've rejected them. It's odd how much a first impression can count. These people might have been absolutely lovely, even when they're drunk. It's just that sometimes that kind of initial approach, if it's way over the top, isn't going to be the first impression that you're looking for. If you're somebody who's looking for a relationship rather than a one-night stand, then potentially you're not looking for somebody who wants to jump into bed at the next second. Even if you don't think that in your mind, even if it's in your subconscious. The other potential scenario, which I have touched upon already, is when you have already been on a date. So you've had a couple of dates even maybe, and one party is into it and the other party isn't. And that is potentially the most awkward situation, because you've got some commitment there. You know, you have been on a couple of dates and potentially one person has got more expectation than they previously had. And that can be really, really tricky. Now in 2018, you might ghost them. I think that's a really bad idea. It doesn't give them any kind of closure. They may think that you're just unavailable, you know, that your phone's broken, that you're just really busy and can't get back to them. In worst case scenarios, it ends up with somebody coming round your house if they happen to know where you live. So if you don't reciprocate, then the best thing for you to do is to say, look, I'm just not that into it, and that should be fine. And if you're the person that is being told that they don't like you, then you're allowed to be disappointed, and it's absolutely fine to say that you're disappointed, but you should leave it at that. There's no need for you to go chasing them afterwards. And if you can stay friends, all the better. I used to find it really hard to ask girls out, so hence my plans, you know. But now I kind of find that if I don't ask a girl out and it ends up being not a possibility anymore, then I get annoyed at myself. So as soon as I kind of realise that I like somebody, then within a reasonable time frame, you know, a week or two, I will probably either message them, or if I can talk to them on their own, then I will do that. Obviously not always possible depending on where you are. And here's the thing, I absolutely respect when I'm told that the liking, that the love or whatever is just not reciprocated. But I always want to continue as friends, and I'm still friends with all the girls that I've asked out in the last few years, which isn't all that many, by the way, and I wouldn't be surprised if 2 or 3 of them are actually watching this video, so hi. So yeah, it's a pain in the neck, but it happens, and you need to learn to move on and stay friends with those people, because not least if they respect you enough to hear what you're saying and say, no, but I'd like to stay friends, then they're exactly the kind of person that actually you want to be friends with. Thanks for watching. I make videos every single week, so subscribe, because otherwise you'll miss out. Like this video, you can do that by giving it a thumbs up just down below, and I shall see you next time. Bye bye.